Hello, everybody. Hearty welcome to all the freemen, liverymen, and members of the Worshipful Company of Hackney Carriage Drivers, and indeed all our friends in the other city livery companies. After receiving an email which came from Dan Heath via Steve Bates with the idea of keeping in touch, because we can't meet the fellowship side of being a member of the company. We can't have the dinners at the moment and we can't have the meetings. So it's an idea of these little videos, just a way of keeping in touch with all the members. And in my first attempt, I decided to talk about Berry Brothers and Rudd and St James's Palace. And you might remember I mentioned that this fashionable quarter is one of my favourite parts of London to guide. And so in a moment, I'd like to have a little go at giving you a little virtual walk and stopping at a couple of places with a little bit of highlighted history. But before I do that, I wanted to tell everybody how I got involved with the company. And that was initially through the Golf Society that I'm a member of. It's a Cabbies Golf Society, although not everybody's a cabbie, but 99% are. Tweet a London Cab, TLC Golf Society. Everybody's welcome. So if you feel like it when we can get golfing again, please come along. And at our charity events, we raise money for the Disney trip. The excellent trip that's run by twice past master Phil Davis and the superb Disney committee. The trip's amazing. It's so well run and it's a mammoth task. So it's just great to be part of, and charity from the company, just superb. And then in 2018, I went on the Cab Guide course, also run by the company, run by both past masters, Graham Woodhouse and Dave Cannell. And I thought the course was so interesting, and Dave Cannell's passion and knowledge really inspired me to try and diversify in the taxi world and to become a taxi guide, and maybe even long-term future. Who knows where that guiding knowledge might lead. So next I'm going to show you my little video walking tour, virtual tour. So let's give that a crack. So let's begin our virtual walk around St James's, in St James's Square. And actually in the centre is a garden square with a statue of William III, also widely known as William of Orange, who, along with his wife Mary, and she was Charles I's daughter, both staunch Protestants, were invited to invade England by a group of political figures who became known as the Immortal Seven, and the invasion itself became known as Glorious Revolution. It was erected here because a power base of his supporters were from this area. And if we take a closer look at the statue, you will see William on horseback, and it depicts the rather unfortunate event when his horse trips on a molehill, throwing him to the ground, and he sustains a broken collarbone that later leads to further complications and his death. Now, if we head out of the square, of the garden square, we're going to head towards Duke of York Street, but just before we do, I want to make a stop at this building here, which is Chatham House. And you'll see there's a blue plaque on the wall telling us that it was occupied by three prime ministers, former prime ministers, one of which lends its name to the building and the institute that operates inside the building. And that was William Pitt, the first Earl of Chatham, and the other two being Edward Stanley, Earl of Derby, and William Gladstone. Blimey, that's three Williams we've met already, which just goes to show old Bill gets about a bit. So now we'll head up Duke of York Street towards Jermyn Street, where, before we turn left into Jermyn Street, you get a really good view of one of the few churches to be built outside the city by the great Sir Christopher Wren. And I particularly love this view of the gallery windows along the side of the church. And now we're going to continue along Jermyn Street a short distance, where we'll be turning right up Duke of York Street. And to take a look at this building, Fortnum and Mason. Now, Fortnum and Mason is the iconic brand founded in 1707 by Hugh Mason and William Fortnum. They were both of whom were footmen in the royal household of Queen Anne. She's the lady that apparently had 17 or 18 pregnancies, and not one of her children lived to adulthood. And she's also played by Olivia Colman in a recent movie about 2 years ago called The Favourites. Now back to Fortnum's. Today it's internationally renowned for its stunning selection of teas, hampers and china. But did you know that they invented the Scotch egg? In 1738, the store, being perfectly placed for travellers heading west, wanted to capitalise on food that was easily portable and for long distances. And then after that, it was also an early form of post office before the penny black and the GPO was founded. And in 1856, it dispatched a concentrated beef tea on the orders of Queen Victoria to Miss Nightingale in Scutari during the Crimean War. And then one final story, which is slightly amusing, is that of Mr. Hines. And in 1886, he made his Fortnum's his first stop, lugging in 5 cases of baked beans all the way from the USA. And the store gobbled the entire stock, making this household staple gentrified for a time. Now I want to skip west all the way along to St. James's Street. And then we'll head down St. James's Street to our next stop, which is John Lobb, the bootmaker. Now, John Lobb was a farm boy from Cornwall, and he made his way to London to become an apprentice bootmaker, where he mastered this gentle craft and won golden awards at exhibitions of Victorian times. His first royal warrant as bootmaker was to Edward, future King Edward VII, and now our current Prince of Wales, as well as his father, the Duke of Edinburgh, which can be seen displayed proudly above the entrance. There's the 2 royal warrants. And then just a couple of doors down, we come to my final stop, which is Lock & Co, the Hatters. And this is a real gem because it's almost as old as the newly paved humble track that became St. James's Street. Yep, Lock & Co, established in 1676, is the oldest hat shop in the world and is one of the oldest family-owned businesses still in existence. Admiral Lord Nelson in 1800 orders his signature bicorn, complete with eye shade. He also orders 2 furthermore in subsequent years. And how's about this for timing? His final visit was in September 1805, when he settles his bill before sailing to Spain, a trip I'm sure many of you will know he did not return from. In 1849, nobleman Edward Coke commissions Locks to create a hat for his gamekeepers. The result of this new iconic hat is called the Coke hat, also known as the bowler. How's that? And of course I must mention Queen Elizabeth II's coronation on June the 2nd, 1953, as Lock designs the fitments for the crown. And may I finish on a great little story that Locks once received a postcard that was simply addressed to the best hatters in the world, London. Now you can't top that. So hopefully you enjoyed our little virtual walking tour with a little bit of history of St. James's. Thanks for watching. Please stay safe and strong. And in the words of our great monarch on Sunday night, we will meet again.